everyone, I am the Basement Dweeb, you can call me Nova, and I finally watched Emma, a Victorian Romance. So for those of you who don't know, Emma, a Victorian Romance is an anime that had 2 seasons. Season 1 aired in 2005 and Season 2 aired in 2007. It's based on a manga of the same name that ran from January 2nd to January 2002 to May 2006. I think it aired in the Japanese magazine Comic Beam. Now, those of you who know my normal I Finally Watched formula would know that right about now is the time I would get into some of the things I liked, and then I go into the more technical stuff. Unfortunately, because I realized I have 3 to 5 pages worth of notes of things I liked, I've decided it would be probably a better course of action would be to make that its own video, and then make this video just the technical aspects. So this video is going to be, like I said, just the technical aspects and it's going to be basically spoiler free. Yeah, there's no spoilers. It's going to be just, overall, it's just a cute show. And the part 2 is going to release tomorrow, and that video is going to have super spoiler heavy because I'm going to go into detail on the things I liked and why, and all of that. But so if you're interested in watching Emma, I recommend you can watch this first, kind of to get a general idea on if you think you're gonna like it based on the general stuff I'm telling you. And I recommend waiting to watch tomorrow's video until after you've seen until after you've watched the show, because this show I didn't have any spoilers for the show at all, and I'm really glad I didn't, because I really enjoyed watching this show. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first technical aspect that we're going to talk about today is animation. Now, the animation for the show is overall pretty good. It's definitely not bad or even mediocre, considering the fact that it came out in 2005, it's a romance slice of life, and it's not that well known. I wouldn't have even heard of this show if a friend hadn't recommended it to me, so there is that. But overall, it is good. There are some moments where the facial expressions and movements are a little weird, but it's not always, so it's one of those things where it's it happens occasionally, and you're like, what was that? But overall, it's pretty good. And I will say, though, the animation and the art and all that did improve a lot between seasons 1 and 2. Season 1 wasn't bad, but within a minute or 2 of getting into season 2, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a massive improvement. The art is better, it's much more expressive, the colors are popping a lot more. You could tell that there had been a huge improvement in quality between seasons 1 and 2. So with that in mind, I am going to give animation for Emma, a Victorian Romance a B tier. Again, not bad at all. It's just, it's a romance slice of life. There's just not a ton of animation. Animation isn't the main priority with a show like this. So yeah, B tier animation. Overall, it's pretty good. So the next thing we're going to talk about is voice acting. Now, the voice acting in this show was really good. I did watch the dub, and and there's actually a funny story with that. So I actually have here the DVDs for seasons 1 and 2. And I had initially bought them because I didn't know there was a dub. I thought it was just, there was no dub. I thought there was only sub. And unfortunately, the DVDs are Japanese language only. And I had thought, there's no dub, so I'll just, watch it Japanese and whatever. And then I was going on Funimation, because sometimes I like to scroll their recently added, because sometimes they'll add some random stuff, and it'll be, very niche, and it'll be interesting to look at. And so I saw Emma, a Victorian Romance, and I'm like, I didn't know that was on here. And so I clicked on it and said, available languages, Japanese and English. And I was like, there's a dub. There is a dub for the show. What? And then I told a friend, I'm like, hey, look at this dub. It's so good. And he's like, oh, I heard season 1 was dub. There's no dub for season 2. And I was like, there's no dub for season 2. Big sad. And so but then I went and clicked on it. And it said available languages, English and Japanese. I was so confused, but I was very happy. And so I was able to watch both seasons dubbed. And I'm really glad I was able to, because this is a show set in 1800s London. If I had to watch it in Japanese, I have a feeling my immersion would be broken. Because it would seem so out of place for them to be speaking Japanese in London, But, anyway, the dub voice acting is very good. The characters, the voice actors fit their characters very well. They sound like the right age, the right build, all of that. Their voices are very good. They have a surprisingly amount of diversification of accents, because there's some German characters in there. There's some I hear Irish a few times. Again, it is largely English voice acting. English accents, but there are a couple of random diverse accents thrown in there, and it surprised me, and I really liked it because England wasn't just English people. There were Irish people there and other Europeans. And I was really happy to see that. It was very, very interesting to me. But so, yeah, I do recommend the dub because I do feel it helps better with the immersion for this particular show. But overall, I am going to give voice acting an A tier. It's, again, it doesn't have the S tier edge, but it is really, really, really solid. Okay, so the last technical thing that we're going to talk about before we get into the overall rating is going to be the music. Now, the music for this is really, really, really solid. Again, doesn't quite have the S tier edge, but it really adds a lot. The instruments they use, I don't know the names, unfortunately, of all these, like, old-timey, English instruments, but they use a lot of the, like, the stuff you hear, like, spinet, I think is one of them, but, like, I don't know what they're called, but the music sounds very much like it's from that time period, and the music fits the time period very well. It really adds a lot to the immersion. It makes you feel like you're really in the 1800s London, 19th century London. It works very well. It's just so good. It flows so perfectly. I'm very tempted. Is it S tier? Is it S tier just because of how well it... Fuck it, it's S tier! The music is S tier simply because of the fact that it fits the time period so well. It so flawlessly fits the time period. Like, I have in my notes, it's A tier, it's really good, and I'm like, you know what? S tier. It's good enough. It fits the time period so perfectly that I can't not give it S tier. So, yeah, music, really, really good. So... now we're going to go into the overall rating of the show. Overall, I really, really enjoy this show. It's if I had to pick one word to describe it, it would be charming. When I was like 30 seconds to a minute into the OP on like episode 1, I think it was episode 1, I'm pretty sure. My first thought was, oh my gosh, this is like the most charming thing I've seen all year. Like, if you want a show that is gonna fill up your heart and make you feel warm and fuzzy inside by the end, and you're just gonna be like super happy watching it, it's not overly complicated, this is the show for you. It's so charming and sweet and lovely, and I am so happy that I watched it. So overall, I'm gonna give this A tier. I thought about giving it lower. Like, I thought about it's an 8 out of 10, but it's like A tier, which is a really odd thing to say because normally like a B tier is like an 8, but this is definitely an A tier, 100%. It's again, doesn't have the S tier edge, but it's just too good for me to not give it the A tier. It's such a good, wonderful show, and everyone should watch this. If you like romance, you're gonna love this show. That's all I really have to say on it. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of part 1. Part 2 will release tomorrow. Like, comment, and subscribe, especially please if you could just leave a comment telling me what you liked about it, what you didn't like, anything at all. It pleases the almighty YouTube algorithm. I will be linking my Patreon and my Twitter down below. Have a good rest of your day. I still don't have a proper outro. Bye!